right, so the trailer dropped for Tron Ares. A lot of people are losing their minds. I'm sure you've seen all the reaction videos. This is not a reaction video, actually. This is something, I hope this is something a little bit different from everything else. Everyone's going crazy seeing the world of Tron in our world. I actually was not surprised. I knew people that worked on Tron Legacy. So when that came out, in 2010, I had talked to quite a few of my friends that had worked on it, and many of them confirmed they had actually worked on sequences for the end of the movie where Clue had brought his army into our world. And I remember it was a very interesting conversation. I was like, do they still have all their powers? Can the light cycles still emit a jet wall? Do the recognizers fly? They're like, yeah, could do all that. So, of course, me overthinking, I'm like, how? They're like, I don't know. I just do what I'm told. But as I understand, there were some challenges. One is it was making the movie Tron Legacy far too long. Passes to try to condense down the end sequence or sequences made the ending of the movie feel rushed, very forced. When we talked about if they could have left as a cliffhanger, let's say Clue brings his army into the real world and then the movie wraps, right? A cliffhanger for a third installment. The problem was no one knew of any third installment in plans at the time. There was nothing approved, nothing greenlit. So I appreciate them actually changing the end of Tron Legacy to what it was. Because if there hadn't been a third installment, we'd at least had some closure. And that's the problem with these movies that leave you hanging, like there's supposed to be a sequel, and then there isn't. Audience members feel a betrayal of trust. There's just a lack of overall closure. These kind of movies don't sit well with us. Also, I think a part of it too, just talking to some people, there was some questions at the time of whether or not the audiences were going to accept Clue. On the off chance you have no idea what I'm talking about, Clue was a program that Jeff Bridges' character wrote. And he was represented in the grid, the digital world, as a young Jeff Bridges. So they did a young Jeff Bridges CG face. Now, it was a very bold attempt. It did push the technology forward in VFX. However, it didn't really work with a lot of people, especially me. Something was off in the eyes, in how the mouth animated, the skin. It just didn't work. Now, it's hard to be perfect in visual effects. There are always going to be those one or two things you don't quite hit. And I think if it was just maybe one or two things, it could have worked. However, it was like a lot of little things, a lot of little details that just added up. Now, this video used Deepfake, or demonstrated using Deepfake to improve those shots. So on the left is what we saw in theaters, and on the right is the Deepfake. Let's check this out and bring down the volume here.
Where are you now?
The eyes look way better, way more natural. I don't know what it was. The eyes in the original it felt forced, like the lighting on it, like they were trying to over accentuate the pickup light, the highlight in the eyes.
My fellow programs, let there be no doubt. For at this moment,
And look at the mouth too. Something with the upper lip I didn't really get into, but it looks so much better on the Deepfake.
in our possession.
So yeah, this was, I think, an improvement. Now, granted, this Deepfake technology wasn't around when they did this. Some people would argue with me, like, well, could you have done a better job? It's like, that's not the point. The point was, I just didn't feel it. And when this video came out, it really gave, to me, a good side-by-side example of what does and doesn't work.
Prove yourselves to me.
So, let's watch this. It's a short video.
Betray you. Out there is a new world.
I really do think the sets are beautiful in Tron Legacy.
Is our destiny.
Yeah, see, it's just a lot of little details. Now, maybe not everyone picks up on those, not every moviegoer. But definitely us visual effects, animation people, we were nitpicking it pretty hard. Yeah, like on the left, it felt like the lighting was off overall. On the left, the eyes were just way too dark. And also the skin. The skin felt kind of plastic. It felt like a rubber mask.
I'm not your father, Sam. But I'm very, very happy to see you.
I still managed to enjoy this movie.
Very rare bird, aren't you? You'll have to excuse me. You arrived just as I was preparing for the toast. I understand that now. I took the system to its maximum.
Oof, yeah, the lighting here in the ending sequence. This was bad. This was really bad.
Potential. I created the perfect system.
The eyes were off. I got some screen grabs as well, like the very last few shots of Clue. I don't know why it kind of felt Lawnmower Man to me, to be completely honest. I like the hair, I think looks fine, actually. I think they did a pretty good job with the hair. It was a huge leap forward, but it missed the marks. So the concern was, by some, is if Clue didn't work, were people going to accept it for a third installment? And I think there was enough critique around Clue that if they had already greenlit a third installment, well, you know what? I do believe the VFX houses would have gone back to the drawing board and tried to make it better. They would have. But it probably would have rubbed people the wrong way. I think a lot of people might have gone in the theater for the third installment being a little more critical. Now, it's been 15 years. What took so long? Well, you know,
it's Hollywood, baby.
I like to think they took time on the script to not rush it. They would definitely have had to rewritten a lot of the parts. Remember, it was supposed to be Clue that brought the army in. So with Clue defeated, they would have to come up with a new antagonist, a new motivation. So there's definitely work that had to be done there. Probably a lot of work on the overall plot, the story, to convince audience members, all the theater goers, that this was going to work, that it wouldn't come off corny. I think overall, the reaction by people is they're pretty excited. You know, we haven't seen the movie obviously yet, but what they teased with was just enough to get people really excited. I'm honestly glad they didn't rush it out. It gives me a little more hope. Now, the trailer didn't give anything away for the plot. Thank God. Disney's terrible with that. Actually, to be fair, there's no plot to give away with a lot of what Disney's releasing. They're just doing remakes of all their classics and ruining them. So we already know the plot. So they're not really screwing that part up, are they, as far as giving away the plot for those? But at least for this, all they did was get people excited, and that's what a trailer is supposed to do. Now let's talk about the cast. We did see somebody in the trailer, and that would be Jared Leto as Ares. Now, Ares, according to IMDb, is a highly sophisticated program sent from the digital world into our world on a dangerous mission. Who knows what that mission is? I guess we'll find out this fall. Please don't blow the mission in any future trailers. All right, let us be a little bit surprised for once. Jared is a mixed bag. He's carried some roles very well, other roles not too well. I'm not against it. Let's see how it plays out, but I'm a bit on the fence at this time. Another name is Cameron Monaghan. If that doesn't ring any bells, maybe you'll recognize him as Cal Kestis from Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Ironically enough, a game that I'm streaming right now on my channel. Well, obviously not right at this moment. Missing from the credits is Olivia Wilde and the original protagonist, Garrett Hedlund. Now, I was wondering what happened to Garrett as I thought about it. Like, he was a very handsome young man, chiseled jaw, good looks. And I couldn't recall seeing him in any other roles, so I looked him up, and, well, I didn't even recognize him. He's been a reoccurring character on Tulsa King. So it's good to see that he's still been working. Gillian Anderson, that most of us will know as Dana Scully from the X-Files. Don't know anything past that, other than that she has her name in the credits. Now, this name may get a few people worked up. Jodie Turner-Smith. I'm sure you remember her from last year's debacle called The Acolyte. Now, with all criticisms aside of The Acolyte, I don't have a problem with her being in the show. The Acolyte was a terrible show in my opinion. However, she was an actor. She didn't write or direct it. I don't hold her accountable for the show. Also, fans don't write and direct the shows either. Someone please let John Boyega know that. So I have no criticisms with her. And if she carries the role well, she carries the role well. Good for her. We'll see how it plays out. Anyways, I just wanted to share what I knew from rumors that I heard, 15 years ago. Well, came out in 2010. I think by 2011, I had heard the rumors. So 14 years ago, rumors that I had heard. I didn't want to talk about it before because it was just rumors. And if it didn't happen, then this would just be a gossip video. And I didn't want to make that. So it's interesting. They're going to pick up sort of where the original story was supposed to leave off. And I think it's just better that it's gone the way that it has. Trying to force this story in our world into the end of the sequel, I think that would have been a mess. So I'm a little bit optimistic, looking forward to it. Listen, I don't think Tron Legacy was like a awesome story, iconic story, but the visuals and the soundtrack, I enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to enjoy Tron Ares as well. So I'm looking forward to it until someone gives me a reason not to. Let's just hope everyone involved in the film stays out of interviews and spewing their personal opinions all over social media. I don't care. I just want something to sit down to for a couple hours and enjoy my popcorn and margarita and forget about my job. If we can just get back to that with movies in Hollywood, that'd be great. Well, that is all I have for this video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again next time, probably most likely on a Survivor stream.